future, I'm going to be hopefully setting some aerial photographs, and in the near future, I'm hoping to have a track plan of the complete layout. So with that, here's the overall plan of the Union Pacific Railroad Geneva subdivision. We are walking down the steps into my basement. And the first thing you see is Elmhurst. And then you have two directions to go to the two main rooms of the layout. One to the right and one to the left. As you can see, we do have some trains running. And there is a bathroom, by the way, which is always nice. I did not have a bathroom in Rochelle. Definitely convenient to have a bathroom in this basement. Here is the main room of the layout. And it's carpeted, which is good on the feet. And you have your dispatcher's panel. I do have 4 trains running with the JMRI throttle. Here I have it set for doing 4 throttles. I usually don't do that when I'm running. I just do 3. But when I have guests over or have an open house, I usually run 4 trains, 2 in each direction. And here's my dispatcher's panel. I have an abundance of monitors, as you can see. And you have a complete schematic of the layout. That's the Railroad and Company software that does that, and it basically controls the signaling. And then we also have JMRI software, which here you have the consist control. It does decoder programming, the Y throttle, which is in conjunction with the engine drivers app on the smartphones. And so you have the complete setup there. I have a 4th monitor that I usually watch TV on. The the Railroad and Company, I have 2 settings. One is for automatic signal generation, which is when I do it when I'm by myself. And then there's also dispatchers setting when we have an operating session with a group. All right, so you had a back room there, which is kind of like a bedroom. And then if we walk the other direction, we have another room. This was unfinished when we moved here, so I had to get this all finished out myself. As you can see, do not have any flooring except for these garage pads, which kind of interlock together, and it's about 1 inch or 1.5 inches of foam. Definitely a worthwhile investment. you go to the right to check out, and then on the left hand side you have coming into the layout. So we have a do not enter sign and a keep right sign, so that the truckers know which way to go. And so the first two here are coming into the intermodal facilities. And as you can see, I've added the detail for the check-in booth. There's the video shed for the check-in. One thing I've noticed in the intermodal yards is that they had a bypass for the video shed. So I made sure I included that with a little gate that I fashioned for both bypass for both coming into and going out of the facility. And then here you have the checkout area of the intermodal facilities. So that's the drone view, overall view of the intermodal facilities. And now we have a more stable tripod view. This is the leaving, the exit, and so you have the do not enter signs there. And then you have the checkout booth with the crossing arms, the computer monitors, the balusters to protect the equipment. Definitely adds quite a bit to the overall realism of the intermodal facilities. So that was the check out. This is the check-in area. Trucks coming in will come in here through the video shed. We'll need to add some detail to the video shed somehow. Here you have a couple of employees talking. And then this is the check-in area. If you notice, a couple of the balusters are crooked. I have fixed those and kind of straightened them out a little bit. But you can see, again, this is the check-in area and the detail added to this. Here you see just all the detail that is added to each lane. You have the balusters. I think they're called balusters or bolsters. I'm not real sure. Someone told me. But anyway, that's there to protect the equipment. There's actually one that's not on there yet. On the very end, there should be another one. And then you have the monitor for checking in, the crossing arms, and then the stop sign. Now, I only have stop signs on two of them because on the other two, you have the pillar for the shed, for the pavilion, and so the stop sign is on the sheds, the pavilion's column that holds up the pavilion. Here you have a picture that I took. It has a lot more depth of field. You can see a lot more of the detail and see just how it looks with all the detail in place. So definitely has made it kind of come alive. I've been very happy with the way this all came out. So that's the update for the layout, especially for the Global 3 intermodal facilities. Coming up very soon, in fact, in just a half hour.
First thing is, of course, to remove the engine house, set it aside, and then I used a sprayer to wet it. As you can see me here pretending like I'm getting the ballast all wet. After the ballast was thoroughly wet, then I got a scraper, and here you can see me pretending to remove the ballast. It really wasn't too messy doing it. The ballast comes out pretty easily. Once it's wet, it comes right up without any problem. Of course, to make sure there's no mess, I use my silent vacuum here. All done. With the ballast removed, I was ready to cut pieces for the cement around the tracks at the engine house. I used styrene for this time. Did not use the Smooth It from Woodland Scenics. The styrene here is 0.08 inches thick. Here you can see this piece I had to sand it a little bit. It's not perfectly square because the two tracks come a little bit closer together there at the end. So 0.08 comes out to be about a scale foot in thickness, which is maybe a little bit thick, but once you get some more ballast around it, it works out to be pretty much perfect. And it is really good because it is about just a little bit higher than the ties themselves. So it's a good height for what we're trying to simulate here. Now you can see as I put them in there, the seams all lined up. And so I decided to switch it around here a little bit so that the seams don't line up with each other, so it looks a little bit better. I could have used some longer lengths of styrene so that it was just one piece, but I basically was using what I had on hand, and so this worked out pretty good. So here you have all the pieces laid out that will simulate the concrete around the engine house. I painted them, of course, with an airbrush. And now here I am reassembling them, making sure they still fit. I don't know why they wouldn't fit after painting them. They don't really change in size any. But just wanted to make sure everything is going where it's supposed to go before I glued it down. This is a pretty easy project, a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. And I did try to get some information from satellite photos. The width of the concrete area is much wider than what we have here, but because of, glue appeared out of nowhere. But due to space constraints, of course, you have to always compress everything. All right, so here I'm just using some magical super glue that just appeared, and just put a little bit on each of these pieces. Always have to be very careful not to get any of it on your fingers, because it definitely sticks to your fingers better than anything else on the layout. And so I'll hold that down for a few seconds. Here you can see me multitasking, holding it down with one hand and gluing with the other. I just kind of put a bead of glue all around the edges and maybe a little bit in the middle. This super glue is a quick setting gel type, or I don't know, it's not really a gel, it's just a thicker super glue than what you would normally get just out of a super glue from the supermarket.
It's unusually quiet at the Rochelle Diamonds. The Union Pacific workers on site have two topics of discussion. First, do they have enough time to get some maintenance work done on the crossing before the next train arrives? And second, where's the driver of that green car? The Union Pacific supported the building of the Rochelle Railway Park for the express purpose of getting train fans off the main line. Yet there are still a few holdouts. Railroad parks are for tourists. For us purists, the best way to watch trains in Rochelle is right here where the action is. Speaking of which, here comes a couple of trains now.
When two trains arrive in Rochelle at the same time, the best place to be is on the side away from the track of the first arriving train. That way, when the second train arrives, your view is not blocked by the first train. No such luck this time, which is especially disappointing as I can now see between the cars that the consist I am missing is led by the C&W Heritage SD70 ACE. Oh well, at least now with the first train pass, I can enjoy the last few stacks of the second arriving train. Hello and welcome to the Union Pacific Railroad Geneva Subdivision. My name is Darrell Cruz, owner and builder of the layout, and your host for this update video, episode 30 of season 2019. And this update is on the neighborhoods around the around the UP BNSF crossing in Rochelle. As you can see from these views, I've put in quite a bit of work to get it to the point where we have streets in. Streets in and trees added, and also the gravel around the streets. And I even put in some curbs and sidewalks to kind of finish everything out. Here you can see looks pretty good with a manifest train going through. You can see the work that I did on the BNSF track going into the backdrop there, together with all the houses and trees and roads and so forth that have been put in. So this main street through here is First Avenue. In Rochelle, all the east-west street roads are called avenues, and then north-south are streets. So that's First Avenue is the main one, and then you have that's 12th Street and 11th Street. Also added some telephone poles, which I extended into the western part of the town, out through Highway 38 there. Also did some work on the parking lot there at that's an old Del Monte warehouse that's not in use. It's just sitting there. Actually, today is in the process of being torn down, but I'm going to leave it up on my layout. So that's 12th Street and 11th Street that go north. I'm not sure what the name of the street that connects the two. That area there where the little figure was watching the train and the UP workers were having a little discussion together, that is the main area where everybody used to go to watch trains. And when we first moved to Rochelle in '97, I would, go there quite